on self-development, which kicked off 3 weeks ago. And just off air, welcome, by the way.
Thank you.
Gorgeous.
Hello.
Always lovely to have you. We're just going through what we've been talking about. The first week, last week we spoke resilience.
Yes.
And today we speak purpose. Before we get into purpose, let's kind of talk about how the one flows into the other.
Yeah, so I think for me, a big part of this series, especially so early in the year, is figuring out how do we get focused? How do we find grounding? And you and I also spoke about how February showed us flames a little bit. So I think for a lot of people, those disturbances that kind of kick us out of our flow have already happened. So if we think about how we set our goals, we then have to go, okay, cool, life is going to happen. So let me get some tools in my back pocket that can help me remain resilient throughout the year and can help me bounce forward, when things happen. And then when it comes to purpose, today we're answering the question, why? Why are we doing all of this? Why does it matter? And what is sort of the intrinsic motivation behind everything?
Before the profession into our careers, right? I can understand we spend a great deal of our time, our lives, in our workspaces. Could there be opportunities to perhaps look outside of that?
100%. And that's why I like bringing in this conversation around purpose. So the first week we spoke about ikigai and finding, your sweet spot in the middle between what you love, what you're good at doing, what the world needs and what you're willing to get paid for or what people are willing to pay for. But it's to say sometimes you might be in a job and vocationally it makes sense and you have the skills for it. But from a purpose, life, meaning perspective, it doesn't bring you fulfillment. And that's when I say to people in our coaching sessions that work at your job, be excellent at what you do. But when you leave the office, find something else that gives you purpose, find something else that gives you joy. So I see this a lot, for example, I know I work a lot with female social entrepreneurs who'll go, I really love my job, I'm really good at it, but I also really care about girls in this particular village and I want to help them get access to education. And so I use a portion of the money I earn to support them, or I use the skills that I've learned to run a monthly or a holiday camp or program to teach them these skills. So there's many ways where I feel purpose starts to give us color in our lives, where we can start to find meaning outside of the mundane day-to-day necessities of making ends meet, and to say, I exist to create impact in some form. So let me carve out those spaces for myself and make the impact count.
And there are so few people who then are able to merge the two, what they do for a living and essentially what they feel their purpose is.
Very like 1% of people, but very blessed to be able to have that.
We need more people.
For people fulfillment perspective, but from society. So if we look at how societies shift, right, it is the overarching motivator of a society. So if we look at societies that are highly industrializing, that there becomes a sense of individuality in those societies, sense of separation, like loss of community and so forth. And then when you look at other societies where there's a sense of we as a community want to move forward together, you find people live with a greater sense of purpose and meaning. And I think you can see this really well in some of the Scandinavian countries where you can make a lot of money and live really well being a plumber, because there's an understanding that every single person who exists in society is there for a fundamental reason. And so whatever you do is valuable. It doesn't matter where in the social scale you are important because you add value to our society. So I think more important than just do I enjoy my job is, do we like the society that we live in? And society is a reflection of us. So I'm looking at even things like conscious capitalism, so how we start shifting from just the need to make money and going, how do we impact the environment, people and planet, and be profitable while we do that, and create a deeper sense of purpose and meaning for all of us who are participating.